represents the actual consumption. A couple things that are interesting about, and we also have total points accumulated. This is for the month, your rank, so it kind of gives you some sense for where you fit in the whole program. But I want to talk about the performance there. A couple things to note. Number one, you see an orange bar where the projection was higher than, or the usage was higher than projections. So there are no points there. But notice notice the times on there. I don't know if I can read them. I don't have my glasses, but that was July 16th, 8 to 9 p.m. The one just below it was July 16th, 5 to 6 p.m. One below that was July 14th. Notice the frequency. The thing that we're able to do is we're able to deploy these anytime that the wholesale price spikes above a certain level. And part of what we're learning is at what level can we do this, make money? We're learning what level of we can do this and engage consumers and pay consumers. So we're managing and understanding the price fluctuations. And the other thing that's interesting, so we can, anytime the wholesale price fluctuates and gets above a certain level, we can deploy an OMAR. We're not required to do just 8 or so, a certain number of events over a certain period of time. We can do this enough as well. If we want to do eight a week, we can. The other thing about this, in that case, is that the times of 8 to 9 p.m. and 5 to 6 p.m. were on the same night. So in that case, it was a prolonged demand spike, prolonged peak spike. We were simply cycling that consumer on and off 1 hour at a time because we don't want to have fatigue. We've heard from Dave from SoCal Edison did a great job showing their program, and they were showing 4 hour demand response events, and he talked about how they were seeing fatigue after 2 hours. In the heat of summer, turning off your air conditioner, after about 2 hours, consumers were saying, I'm going to opt out and turn my air conditioner back on. Another approach to that is to say, let's do 1 hour on, 1 hour off, 1 hour on. Now, in this case, it didn't work. The consumer said, I'm fatigued, I'm not going to turn on and participate in the second hour, but actually they tried to participate, but they couldn't. So this is part of the dynamics that we're learning is what consumer behavior, what will consumers do or not do given this program. So it's very interesting initial results. The other thing you'll see is the ability to cash out. So you can actually turn those points into cash that we pay to consumers. So unlike a lot of programs where all you do is see a reduction on your utility bill, in this case, we are paying you cash, which you then can turn into money that you can buy things with, like your Starbucks. Consumers really want. They want Starbucks, they want Netflix, they want movie tickets. They don't necessarily want just the credit off of the utility bill. So this is a long list of things that we're learning. We have initial learnings that we're collecting data. We're figuring out things. We have a lot more to learn. We've got a long way to go here. At this time next year, we'll probably have a lot more data to share. But these are the kinds of things that we're learning about consumer behavior. Their willingness to participate in the program. Is it frequent? Is it low? Is there strong interest, or do they sign up and then not participate? How long do they stay engaged? The level of participation. Do they want to engage many devices in the home or not? How do the loads are controlled automatically? What kinds of loads are they deploying? Is it the water heater, the EV charging station? Is it the pool pump? What kinds of things can be controlled or not? Also, we're seeing a combination of the automatic reduction and the behavioral reduction. So when an OMAR alert goes out, we're going to do an OMAR, we're going to reduce your loads. What we're seeing also is then consumers are saying, well, as long as we're going to do an OMAR, I'm going to go turn off some lights. I'm going to make sure I don't vacuum right now. I'm going to make sure I do some other things to complement the things that are set up to automatically turn off. So we're seeing the combination effect. So it's both automation and behavior. We're seeing the amount of reduction. You saw an example of the amount of reduction for events and how much they earn. How consumers respond once they see the program. Do they get excited about it and they want more, or do they say, okay, that's enough? But really, what we're seeing is democratization of your participation in demand response. We've heard a lot this week about how important consumer choice is, and giving consumers the choice to participate and reduce or not is what we're really enabling here, and we're seeing fantastic results. One consumer just went crazy last Q4, and they earned $300 in 1 month. So it was, because they just said, I'm going to see how I can max this out. kind of like when Prius owners first had their Prius, they were seeing that how many miles per gallon they could get, right? They just wanted to test the system to see what they could do because it's fun, it's interesting, it's a fun thing, challenge to do. On the business model side, we're figuring out sort of how consumers choose to participate. Is it a free upfront hardware? We get the hardware we pay for free, and then we take a portion of the subsidy ourselves. Do they want to have a subsidy model where they pay a little bit up front and then pay a little bit over time? Or do they want to buy that thermostat for that Wiser Air connected intelligent thermostat for $239 up front, and then take all the credits and energy credits themselves that they earn because they want that kind of constant reinforcement. But we're learning those consumer dynamics in the business model, and what works and what doesn't work. We're learning a lot about the spot market dynamics of electricity. As you all know, I don't know how the utilities do this, but you know, the fluctuation in consumer rates is like this, right? You get 21 cents for us in PG&E in San Francisco. You get 21 cents on average per kilowatt hour, and then the price. However, the wholesale market is going like this. And I have no idea how you guys can manage that when there's that much variability on the wholesale side, and yet you're forced to average that out and pay and charge consumers. Anyway, we're learning some of those dynamics and trying to figure out how we can help shave the peaks a little bit for you. Business models, sustainability, and regulatory direction. This is a pilot. This is a 2-year pilot, and we're just getting started. 30,000 homes in California will be turned on the whole program for starting in June this year. 3 companies participated in the consumer side: Home Connect, Energy Hub, and Chai. And we're going to see, and they're all deploying the model a little bit differently, and we're going to see how this works. But we're going to learn. I think the feedback from some of the utilities is this is a great model. Don't know if it's sustainable because of the pricing and the payouts that are going on, but we're going to see. But we're learning a lot about consumer engagement. We think that's going to be valuable for any model going forward, and so we really like the model. So let me move forward. So, Stuart, on your next survey about most appealing smart home use cases, you see a lot of these are receive alerts, a lot of passive, kind of notification, and you should add one that says that you want to monetize your smart home infrastructure. And again, I think we'll get a lot more participation. So where we're going to go with this going forward? So Schneider has a broad range of connectable, controllable appliances for the home, including our new storage solution called EcoBlade, our Wiser Air thermostat, and other products I've already talked about. We see this electrical infrastructure being an asset to be tapped into by utilities directly, by aggregators themselves, etc. But creating this full range of assets that can be access and control is where we're going. And what that leads to eventually is a whole new business model around monetizing that asset. So as we move into Smart Home 2.0, the ability for being able to pay for activating that resource is important. Reducing premiums refers to the insurance industry. The insurance industry is also interested in this infrastructure, how they can access it, and reduce risk of problems at home. So between these two, we're looking at taking this asset and monetizing it. Are there examples of this working today in consumer land? Yes. How many people have ridden in Uber? Right? How many people have stayed on Airbnb? It's a similar kind of model, right? You're taking an asset that exists and you're figuring out how to monetize it and turn it into something that generates revenue and does something that you want to do. We also think this is a focus on consumer. We also think this applies to buildings as well. Same model, setting up the building infrastructure to be able to be accessed and deployed and generate revenue for buildings. So, and just one more advertisement. So, why are we doing this? Because we have a large presence in homes and buildings around the world. We've been working on different types of approaches around the world for doing this sort of thing. But I think this California DRAM project is the most exciting project I've seen anywhere that we work. So it's a very exciting model, and it is indeed the chance to finally pay consumers to save. So why are we talking about this? We're talking about this openly with you because this is not going to be something that we're going to do ourselves. This is just a pilot. 30,000 homes in California being paid to save and participate in this program. A very early stage. I mean, this is the tip of the spear. Actually, this is the first molecule on the tip of the spear. This is very, very early stage, and we are not going to be able to move this forward. The challenge, we all know the challenges of innovation and trying new models, right? The old joke of early bird gets the worm, second mouse gets the cheese. We don't want to be that first mouse. We don't want this to be stopped because of resistance from regulatory agencies and utilities. We see this as an asset that helps create a win-win scenario where we eliminate the inefficiencies that we are faced with today and provides strong engagement for consumers. So this is all about people-centered business model innovation that helps enrich lives, and in this case, really enriching consumers. Thank you. I have time for questions.